prayers. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Padyantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Aspat-gurubhyo namaha. Shruti-smriti-purāṇānaṁ ālayam karuṇālayam. Namāmi bhagavat-pādam Shankaram Lokashankaram. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Kesavam Badharayanam. Sutra-bhāśya-kritau vande bhagavantau punah punah. Ishvaro gururatmeti murti-bheda-vibhagine. व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः. श्रीमेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः. ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै. ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. So once more Namaste to everybody. So last class we completed the third verse, third shloka. So today we will start with the fourth shloka. I will recite and you can chant after me. Parichinna iva jnanat.
Parichinna iva jnanat.
Tannashe sati kevalaha.
Nashe sati kevalaha.
Swayam prakashate hyatma.
Svayam prakashate hyatma.
Meghapayem shumaniva.
Ekapayem shumaniva.
Good. So, in the previous sloka, Shankaracharya said that karma cannot give moksha because karma cannot remove ignorance. Jnanam can give moksha because jnanam can remove ignorance. This we saw. But now the question would be, what is the connection between moksha and jnanam? Why it is said that jnanam can give moksha and karma cannot give moksha? Because till now he has not established the connection completely. It's only the third shloka, right? Slowly, slowly only he will unravel. But at this stage, a student can get a doubt because all along we have heard what? Moksha means going to Vaikuntha or Kailasa. That is moksha. That's what all our Puranas say. And what Parayanam, not Parayanam, Pravachanam after Pravachanam, whom all we have heard, they have all said the same thing. Moksha means going to Vaikuntha or Kailasa, and then mostly Vaikuntha actually. That is moksha. That's why we have got this, what is that? அந்த ஸ்வர்கத்வாரம் ஸ்வர்கத்வாரம் வழியா போனா மோட்சம் கிடைக்கும். We will get moksha. This is what is the general belief. So anybody who has been brought up in that belief and who has got this strong mindset that for me moksha means it can be achieved only after death, number one. Number two, it means after death I should go to Vaikuntham, and then there I will get moksha at the feet of the Lord. I will serve Lord Narayana, Mahavishnu, and I will get moksha at the feet of the Lord. This is what everybody thinks. They don't analyze beyond that at all, isn't it? So they all think what? Let me do all good karmas, everything good, maximum focus on dharma purushartha. All good deeds let me do, let me earn maximum punyam. And because of that, what will happen? Sant Bhagavan, Lord Vishnu, Santushta hai san, Swarna Ratena, Vishnu Duta hai adaha agachanti. And then the please Lord will take me up, take me directly, in a golden chariot. He will take me to Vaikuntha. And so we can say that that action of going to Vaikuntha is jnanam, if that is what you want. So what is this jnanam and the connection between jnanam and moksha? That question can come in anybody's mind. Therefore, we must be very clear in our mind that what is the consequence of the ignorance. First of all, what is the nature of the ignorance? Number two, what is the consequence of that ignorance? And if you want to escape that consequence, you have to remove ignorance. And ignorance can be removed only by knowledge. All these connections have to be done. Then only you will appreciate that connection between jnanam and moksha. Because unless you feel you are bonded, you are under a bondage. Moksha means freedom. So freedom from bondage. So what is the nature of that bondage? That we have to understand, and that is what Adi Shankara is now starting to establish from this sloka. Because unless you understand what is the nature of the samsara, what do we mean by samsara, we cannot make all these connections which I told you. So the idea is samsara is a sense of limitation. I mean, one of the ways we can look at samsara, which is a very, very fundamental way of looking at samsara. Samsara means having a sense of limitation. I am a limited being. And this limitation, this feeling of this I am a limited being cannot be removed by any other method. Why? It cannot be removed by going to Vaikuntha also. Why? Because this sense of limitation is arising out of the ignorance of our true nature. So, if you look at it, jnanam does not give you moksha. Jnanam removes this ajnanam, because of which automatically you understand, you realize that you have always been a moksha purusha only. There was never a question of any limitation for you at all. That is what is moksha is about. Moksha is, as I keep on saying, moksha is not something you gain. Even though it said apnoti and all that, that's all very fine. But that is the way it can be expressed. But actually, moksha means what? Once the ignorance is removed, your true nature, which is nitya mukta nature, automatically shines. That's what he says, Swayam Prakashate Atma. So, this is where Adi Shankara is bringing the connection between jnanam and moksha. And he starts with what? Parichinna iva ajnanat. Ajnanat. Panchami. Heto Panchami. Parichinna. Parichinna means limited. I am a limited being. Alpashaktiman. Alpagnaha. If I am here, I cannot be somewhere else. limited by space. I have a date of birth and a date of death, limited by time. So I am a limited being, and that is what is the ignorance we all suffer from. Adi Shankara says this parichinna is there, but Iva, he says. Iva is a very, very important word in whole Vedanta. We have to understand. Iva means as if, as it were. You are not parichinna, you are not a limited being, but you are taking yourself as if you are a limited being. Isn't it? We take ourselves to be finite individuals having marana dharma, janma dharma, all those dharmas rather. And this is consisting of asti, then what was that? Jayate, vardhate, viparinamate, apakshiyate, and nashyate. That is what we are, right? That's what we think we are. So, what we have to understand, what Adi Shankara is trying to establish here is that because you are by self ignorance, by your misconception, taking yourself to be a limited being, that is what is samsara is. And that samsara is the sense of limitation. And because of that, and that the cause for that, the hetu for that is ajnanam, ignorance. So samsara, all your troubles, everything, first of all, starting with sense of limitation, then your nature, original nature is unlimited. So you are always in your life trying to become unlimited. When you don't have something, you feel limited, that I am limited by not having this particular thing. Then you try to acquire that thing, thinking that you will become limitless. You may become unlimited or limitless insofar as that particular thing is concerned. But then what happens is something else comes up. Then this limitlessness part by part keeps coming, and then part by part the limitedness keeps on growing also. Why? Because you are not able to get that knowledge that you are actually unlimited. Ananta hai, nitya hai, aja hai. All these things is your real nature, which you don't know. So that is why he says ajnanat iva parichinna iva ajnanat. Because of ajnanam, you are taking yourself as if you are limited. Because we must understand one thing. All this going to Vaikunta, Kailasa, everything is fine. I mean, that's all said. It is in Puranas, it is said. All that is fine. But we must understand that is being said in for a particular level of people. If you tell that those people about Atma Jnanam and all, nothing will go inside. Because that is their stage. It is like they're fused bulbs, you know. How much soever electricity you can put in a fused bulb, will it burn? Will it give light? It won't give light. Because the filament itself is defective. So, for such people who have got a defective filament, unless that filament is set right, any amount of Atma Jnanam you give them, it will all fall on deaf ears. For them, moksha is going to Vaikuntha. And they don't realize that if the problem is of limitation, and that limitation is centered on me, I, then the solution also has to be centered on I only, isn't it? I am unhappy is the problem. So happiness can come to whom? I only, So the problem is I, the solution also has to be I only. It cannot be some Vishnu or Shiva sitting in Kailasha or this Vaikunta and all. They can't be the solution. They can at best give you the blessings for you to understand this cause for this limitation, but they cannot make you unlimited. I am a mortal is a problem. That problem is centered on I. I am a mortal. So I have to realize that I am an immortal. How can going to somewhere help in that solving that that feeling that I am a mortal rather. So I am taking myself as to be apurnaha, and unless I actually know that I am purnaha, this apurnatvam will not go away. If we are really apurnaha, by nature we are apurnaha, nothing will make us purnaha. Even Bhagavan cannot make us purnaha. Because Bhagavan cannot change our nature, isn't it? So that is why this aspect of the connection between the ajnanam leading to samsara, which is the sense of limitation as defined in this shloka, and that ajnanam can be removed only by jnanam, and that is what is moksha, which is freedom from this samsara. All these connections, he makes it beautifully in this particular sloka in very few words. So if you are incomplete, there is no hope. You can never become complete unless you are infinite already. Anything you add to infinite, you will remain infinite. But if you are finite, anything that you add to finite can never become infinite, isn't it? Simple arithmetic, we all know. From infinite, you can neither reduce anything nor add anything. From finite, if you add anything or reduce anything, it can never become infinite. So one has to first of all logically accept that I am infinite. Then only moksha is possible. Then only what the Shastra says is possible. If I am parichinna by nature, if I am limited by nature, forget moksha and all that. Why waste your time? Why all the rishis and even Bhagavan has wasted his time in giving all these Upanishads and say that this is the way to moksha? Why moksha is a purushartha itself? All these questions you can easily ask. If the fact that you are aparichinna, you are actually unlimited, limitless individual, if that is not a fact, then all these things are irrelevant. So that is why, from that angle also, we have to accept to begin with that we are unlimited, we are limitless. But because of the ignorance, we are taking ourselves to be limited. This much we must understand from the first line of this particular sloka. Right? So that is why he says, Parichinnahe iva ajnanat. Because of ignorance, there is a sense of limitation, and this alone is the cause for samsara. And samsara means all dukkham, sorrow, misery, everything. That's what is samsara is all about. Therefore, dukkha nivritti is possible by paricheda nivritti. Paricheda nivritti is possible by ajnana nivrittihi. And ajnana nivrittihi is possible only by jnana. Nothing else can remove ajnana. This is the connection we have to make. This is how we have to understand this entire moksha pursuit, this moksha purushartha. Because he makes a very subtle point, Acharya. Normally, we will take sorrow or dukkha as a mental pain, isn't it? For example, there is somebody who has died and there is a mental pain caused because of the death of that person. Or you can take it anything, poverty, physical, anything. There is a mental pain caused because of certain things. And we say that I am, unhappy or I am very sorrowful and all that. We say that because we actually do not know what is the nature of this sorrow. We experience this sorrow, but we do not know the psychological process, the mental process which is involved in this feeling of sorrow, how sorrow comes to us. We need to understand that. Because when you come to Vedanta, you should not accept anything on the face of it. Just because Shankaracharya is saying it, we have to accept it. That is not the rule here. Right? Shankaracharya is saying is we have got all respect for Shankaracharya. He will not say anything without a base. That's fine. But for our own intellectual satisfaction, we need to go deep into it to understand what is the basis on which Adi Shankara is saying. Adi Shankara will not write a big commentary on this. He will just give you a hint, and if you are intelligent enough, you have to absorb that hint. So let us just understand the psychological process of how pain or the sorrow is caused. When somebody dies, for example, we have pain. And we say that the pain is caused by the death of that person. We only go up to that much depth. We don't go beyond it. But Vedanta says your sorrow is not caused by the death of that person. Because if death has to cause to sorrow, any death should cause you sorrow. But that does not happen, isn't it? So we have to start thinking. Why is it that any death does not cause sorrow to me? Somebody has died somewhere. Every day deaths are happening. Every hospital deaths are happening. So every time a death is happening and you come to know, you must feel the same degree of sorrow which you feel when somebody in your family or close to you has died. But you don't feel it. So to say that death causes sorrow is not completely true. Maybe partially true. So then you go to the next stage of analysis. And we come to the conclusion that it is not any death that causes sorrow, but death of some particular person. It could be even a particular dog that is your pet. That is what is causing you sorrow. That person is a VIP for you, a very important person. So the when VIPs, very important person dies, you have sorrow. But another set of VIPs, and this is I'm using Swami Paramathananda's beautiful expressions. Another set of VIPs who are very insignificant persons, when they die, we don't have sorrow at all. So one set of VIPs, we have sorrow. one set of VIPs, when they die, we have sorrow. Another set of VIPs, when they die, we don't have any sorrow. Now, what makes the difference between this importance and insignificance? It is because of our relationship. We think that this person was there, and in his presence, I was taking myself to be complete. If this person had not been there, I would have taken myself to be incomplete. But because of that person's presence was there, I was taking myself to be complete. But now that that person has died, gone away, I have become incomplete. And this incompleteness is what is causing you sorrow. And we can actually experience this in so many different circumstances. Suppose we go to a marriage. What will we do? First, we will look for, is there anybody who is known to me, who is close to me? Why do we do that? We have gone to go attend a marriage. Bride is there, bridegroom is there, parents are there who have invited you. Attend the marriage. Eat and come back. Do you do that? No. Moment you enter the hall, you will start looking around if there is somebody known to me, somebody close to me who is also present in the marriage. We do that because we feel that incompleteness feeling continues with us. So we are looking for somebody to fill that incompleteness so that we will feel complete. In school, we have done. You will be sitting in one bench and you will want some particular person to sit next to you in the bench. Not anybody. Because in the presence of that person, you are getting a feeling of completeness. So this experience, if we analyze what causes this dukkha, is this mamakara and this ahankara, which is actually making you feel incomplete, and because of this mamakara ahankara you have a false sense of completeness, and when that is missing it causes dukkha. This is the analysis which Vedanta does. So it is not the death or any particular event which is causing dukkha. The real reason why you feel sorrowful is because you feel incomplete. Isn't it? Suppose we this is a lady's example. I will take, Diwali is coming, so I'll take a lady's example. You go to a shop now, these days, of course, Corona times, this example may not be very valid, but still it is valid in general times. So ladies should not, it's not a bad example. I mean, but take the liberty. You go to a big shop, sari shop, right? Nalini, what is Nalli or some big shop, and you see lot of saris. And there is one beautiful sari you see. And you have picked it up. You have not told anything to the salesman, but you want to see some more saris. And if you don't like anything else, you want to buy this beautiful sari. Now you have kept it aside near you where you are sitting. And you ask the salesman to show you more saris. He shows you more saris and all. You don't like anything. Ultimately, when you are looking at the sari that you had selected and kept, you find it is missing. Then you ask the salesman, you see, I had kept one sari here, which I wanted to buy. Where is it gone? Oh, salesman says, oh, madam, I'm sorry. I didn't know that you had actually kept it. Well, you didn't tell me anything. Another lady who came, she saw that sari, she liked it immediately, she has taken it away. Will that cause a dukkha to you or not? Isn't it? You will feel very sad. My God, that sari, which I thought, if I get, my sense of limitation of not having that sari will be going away. But now the sari itself has gone away. So I am back to my sense of limitation of not having that sari. And that is why this dukkha has come, isn't it? So the dukkha is nothing to do with the sari. It is to do with your sense of limitation of not having a particular thing. Sari is one example. It can take be anything. Whether person, object, a situation, anything you can take. So when that sense of limitation continues, your dukkha continues. And one sense of limitation is fulfilled, there is another sense of limitation comes up. So that is why this samsara continues. Samyak sarati, go on doing it, isn't it? Samsara. So this is what we have to understand, the cause for our unhappiness. The cause for our unhappiness is not anybody else. The cause for our unhappiness, our sorrow, our misery, our grief, everything in our life, all these things in our life is only one, our own sense of limitation. It is because the way we take ourselves to be, we have all this dukkha. So if I am sad, I cannot blame anybody for that sadness. I cannot tell somebody because of you said this, I am sad. No, I am sad because I have actually, continuing to be under the misconception of myself being a limited being. And this limitation can be defined in 1000 ways. I mean, everything that you actually experience, you can actually connect it to this limitation. This is the only thing, the sense of limitation. Parichinnaha. Parichinnaha iva. Iva is important. So, what is the solution? The solution is I have no raga or dvesha for anything in my life. Why? Because all this raga and dvesha are all relating to my this body mind sense complex, and I am not the body mind sense complex. I am Sachidananda Swarupa. I am Purna. I don't have any Marana Dharma at all. Ajo Nityam Shashwatoyam Puranam. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. I don't die when my body dies. Isn't it? Bhagavan said, Bhagavad Gita. I am Ajah, Nityam, Shashwatah, Puranam, Pura api Nava. I am always fresh. I am always new. There's no question of my getting old at all. What is all these things is all happening to my body. That knowledge, that understanding we have to get. Then only this sense of limitation will go away. And how do you get that? By jnana. That is how we have to understand the first line, the complete connection, connecting all the dots and understand how jnanam is relevant for removal of samsara, removal of dukkha, and which is the result of our taking ourselves to be parichinna. So this is what he says in the first line, right? And then, so as I said that we should not blame anybody for our problem. So these 2 points, that problem is caused by sense of limitation, and the sense of limitation is because of our ajnanam, and ajnanam can go by jnanam only, has to be very, very clearly understood. So that apurnatvam cannot go away unless you understand yourself to be purna. So this is how the definition of samsara Acharya gives. In fact, Sureshwaracharya was one of the disciples of Shankaracharya in one of his works. He says that if limitation is real, it's a fact. This parichinnatvam is a fact. Stop doing all sadhanas because nothing is going to help you. Even going to temple, going to this, all this chitta shuddhi business, chitta naishalyam, all these things are waste of time. By doing all these things, you can never become aparichinna. That is what he says in one of his works. So, if you are actually limited and that's what you believe yourself, enjoy your life and go away. Then what will happen, right? Never struggle for moksha and all that. All these things is not required. But thank God, this limitation is only a notion. It's not a fact. So there is still hope for all of us who are seeking moksha. Then Acharya continues, Tannashe sati. Tannashe means what? Ajnana. Tat refers to Ajnanam. Ajnanam nashe sati. Nashe sati saptami. Hmm? Ajnanam nashe. So when this Ajnanam is destroyed, then what happens? Kevalaha bhavati. Kevalaha here means non-dual. The only one. Right? That means what? Complete. Purnaha bhavati. Because as long as we understand there is a second, then apurnatvam automatically will come. What is the sense of limitation? Sense of limitation is because I am one of the many, so I am limited. If I am the only one, then there is no question of limitation. That's why this Dvaita Bhava will never give you moksha. You will always feel parichinna only because there is something else. If there is a space, that something else is occupying some space, and that occupation of space, because of that occupation of that space by something else, I am limited in my occupation of space. Similarly, time. So this limitation can go away only when you feel that there is nothing other than me. I am the only one. I am that Brahman. That is the only I am existence, consciousness, and limitlessness. Unless you understand that, this sense of limitation will not go away. So that's why he said Tannashe Sati, that sense of limitation, that ajnanam, unless when it is destroyed, sati sat message said, then only you will understand I am Purnaha and this limitation will go away. And along with this sense of limitation, all dukkha, all misery, sorrow, everything will go away, lock, stock, and barrel. Right? So therefore, Kevalah chet advayah, no non-dual. Right? So if you are the only one, that means you are not there is it's a non-dual situation. You don't have any second. Advayah chet purnah, because you are the only one. There is nothing else to complete you. You are complete in yourself. Purnah. Purnah chet muktah. Once you understand you are purnah, complete, that is moksha. That's it. And apurnah chet baddha. As long as you are taking yourself of apurnah, this bondage will continue. This samsara will continue. Right. So, in from this one more point is there. We talk of moksha and all. What is that moksha? Getting out of the sense of this limitation. That is moksha. Freedom from this sense of limitation. So it is not some mysterious state. Moksha means, as I often you say, that there is a Mahatma sitting, then there is this like Mahatma Buddha and all that. They put one halo behind him and all that. All these things is not moksha. In fact, if you see a Mahatma, you may not recognize him to be a Mahatma. Only a person who is a Mahatma, who is a moksha Purusha, knows he is moksha. Otherwise, there is no other sign for moksha Purusha. He will always be happy means not that he will go and say, laughing everywhere. Ha 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 ha. He won't be doing that. In fact, as long as body, mind, sense complex continue, he will have all the emotions which this body, mind, sense are used to. The only thing is, when having that emotions, he will know within himself that this emotion belongs to my body, not to me. I am not being emotional here. I am asanga and I am purna. So all this apurnatvam business and all is belonging not to me, to my this body mind complex, in which I am a temporary resident. I pay rent. It is not, I don't own it also. When the time comes, I am like a bank employee who are transferred every 3 years or 4 years. They don't allow you to stay in one branch for a very long time because you may develop some, some interests in certain customers and all that, and become very familiar with the system, and then that is prone to fraud. So because of that, bank employees always are transferred every 3 years. So like that, I'm like a bank employee in this particular body for a certain period of time. Then I'm going to go away. So I should not develop any close association, any close interest with this body, mind, sense complex. They are there, very good, serving me very well. It is because of that body mind complex only I am able to transact with the world. Otherwise, nobody can even see me also, isn't it? I don't have any form. I'm only consciousness, existence. How can you see existence and consciousness unless it is related to some object? So I am having that pleasure of interacting with the world only because of this body mind complex. So to that extent, I'm thankful to this body mind complex, but I am not this body mind complex, right? So it says tannashe sati kevalaha bhavati. So that was the point I was looking. So when you take yourself to be purnaha, what happens? You don't miss anything in life. If there is something, enjoy it. If it is not there, doesn't matter. You don't miss any person, you don't miss any object, you don't miss any event. Somebody has not invited you for the marriage of his daughter or son, and that person you consider yourself to be close to him, and you feel sad. I have not been invited. But if you take yourself to be complete, that invitation is not going to complete me in any way. It's okay. He has not invited, not invited. I am not missing anything by not attending that marriage. So this kind of feeling or emotions and all will be will be gone once you understand that you are Purna. You don't need anything at all in your life. But that does not mean that you whatever comes to you, you must reject it. Oh, I am Purna, I don't want this. No. Coming to it, okay, fine, let it come. Doesn't matter. It's not going to add anything to me. I am infinite. Whatever you add to infinite, it is not going to change me. Somebody is taking things away from you, let them take. It's not going to change me because I am infinite. So this one minus plus business in life, we will get a real understanding of what is the effect of that plus minus businesses in our life. And that itself will actually prevent a lot of, in fact, every sorrowful emotion, every unhappy emotion, it will prevent. And once there is no unhappiness, what is there? Only happiness, isn't it? Like they say, what is darkness? Absence of light. What is unhappiness? What is happiness? Absence of unhappiness. So if you just, you know, look at your life, every hour of your life, every minute of your life, and you don't have any unhappiness at all, unhappiness is absent, that means what? You are eternally happy. That's your state of mind. I am very happy. Happiness is not something extra that comes. Happiness is your natural state. Ananda Swarupa hai Tvamasi. So you abide by in your natural state. Don't allow unhappiness to come. Unhappiness has come because of your feeling of apurnatvam. Remove that with jnanam. Remove your ignorance. Then you will always be happy. Isn't it? So this is how we have to connect the entire Vedanta study is all one thing leading to another, one thing leading to another. Once we actually connect the all these links, then that is moksha. It's not some very exclusive kind of thing and all that. But the problem is it is not very easy to do that. It requires a lot of effort, and which we all know that, right? So the point is, if you have a wrong notion about something or ignorance of something, that can be removed by knowledge rather. Because a notion arises because of false knowledge or absence of knowledge rather. So once you replace this false knowledge with the right knowledge, then that problem is solved rather. So moksha means what? Kevalatvam. A firm conviction that aham purnaha, people, situations, objects cannot add to my fullness, and people cannot remove anything from my fullness. That's what Bhagavan Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also, right? Apuryamanam achala pratishtam samudramapa pravishanti yadvat tadvat kama yam pravishanti sarve sa shanti mapnoti na kama kami. Gopalakrishnan Mama will remember this. Apuryamanam achala pratishtam. See, in the ocean, there are so many rivers flowing into the ocean. Just because the rivers are flowing, the ocean is not going to have more water. Just because some rivers stop flowing, also the ocean is not going to lose any water. Similarly, you are a vast ocean of unlimitedness, unlimited consciousness, unlimited existence, unlimited ananda. You are that ocean. Nothing will add to this unlimitedness. Nothing can take away this unlimitedness. That is how we must understand, right? But it says that yadvat kama yam pravishanti sarve sa shanti mapnoti na kama kami. But if you don't have this understanding, if you are running behind all these worldly enjoyments and things like that and all, thinking that they are going to make me purna, it will never happen. Nothing can make you purna unless you are already purna. That much we must very firmly understand in this, right? There is also another Upanishad vakyam, na karmana vardate no kaniyan bhavati yesha hi mahima Brahadaranya Upanishad. Yesha hi mahima brahmanasya. A brahmana means a brahmagyani. Yesha hi mahima. What? This is his speciality. This is his mahima, his glory rather. What is his glory? Says that na karmana vardate no kaniyan. So by doing any karmas, you cannot get this Brahmanatvam, the Brahma Jnanitvam. This is what the Brihadaranyaka says, because a Brahma Jnani actually is the real Brahmana. Everybody else is a Brahmana only for name's sake. We can call ourselves Brahmanas, but we don't have any quality of any Brahmana. Right? So then he says, once this Ajnanam is gone, what happens? Swayam Prakashate, self shining. It shines itself. What? The Atma. Because Atma being the Swarupa Chaitanyam, it is Swayam Prakasha. It does not require anything else to be illumined. The Atma, right? It is self evident. So here, this idea which is being conveyed, the Swayam Prakashate, is a very technical point. We must understand this technical point carefully. We saw in the beginning class about how vritti takes place. Vritti Jnanam takes place, right? First, that, you know, object which we see, a vritti is formed, and then immediately the consciousness, Chidabhasa, reflected consciousness pervades that vritti, and then that is how the vritti jnanam takes place. This is we saw. So for any object, this is the process of our getting knowledge, this vritti jnanam. Now for Atma jnanam also, should not the same process be followed? Because what is Atma jnanam? It is also knowledge only. Except that it is not knowledge of any object, it is knowledge of the self. But that also, Aham Brahmasmi, is also a vritti only. So once that Aham Brahmasmi vritti comes, when we do Sravanam, Mananam, Nidhyasanam and all that, that Aham Brahmasmi vritti has come. So what should happen for us to know that Jnanam is there? The Chidabhasa has to, again, the reflected consciousness has to pervade that. But now here is the difference. Because what is the nature of that vritti jnanam? It is Atma. And Atma's nature is what? It is the original consciousness. It is a Bimba Chaitanyam. All along, for all other objects, you are using Pratibimba Chaitanyam, the reflected consciousness. But here, the knowledge is of the Bimba Chaitanyam itself. So what will a Pratibimba Chaitanyam do? Isn't it? You can't show light to the sun. You don't need another light to see the sun. The sun itself is self-shining. So here, what Acharya is emphasizing here by Swayam Prakashate, he Atma, he is saying that unlike the case of that vritti jnanam which takes place in respect of every other object, here, once the Aham Brahmasmi vritti takes place, it automatically shines itself. Because that is the original consciousness, my dear. You don't need any reflected the Pratibimba Chaitanyam to reflect that. This is the difference in Atma Jnanam and any other Jnanam. We must understand. Once that Atma Jnanam, that Aham Brahmasmi vritti takes place, it automatically, shines rather. Makes itself self-evident. Because that is the original consciousness. That's why when we are showing this Karpuram, what we say? Tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam. Tasya bhasam sarvamidam vibhati. We are actually expressing our stupidness to God, to Lord. It's because of you that even this light is burning and I am showing you this light to you. What kind of a stupid fellow I am. That's all because we take ourselves as limited being. That's why we show this puja, panne, all this camphor and all we show. Because we think that We are limited, and so we have to show that light to Lord, and we take Lord also to be limited. That's the beauty. Anyhow, so this is what Acharya is trying to say, that the Bimba Chaitanyam does not require any Pratibimba Chaitanyam to know itself, because it is self-evident. Swayam prakashate hi Atma. So for getting that Atma Jnanam, you don't require this Pratibimba Chaitanyam at all, this reflected Chaitanyam at all. Because in the case of Ghatakara Vritti, we require, yeah, this Pratibimba Chaitanya. We require the Chidabhasa, right? We said that Pratibimba Chaitanyam Ghatam Vyapya Ghatam Prakashayati. We can't say the same thing here. We can't say that the Pratibimba Chaitanyam Atmanam Vyapya Atma Prakashayati. We can't say. Because the Pratibimba Chaitanyam cannot pervade the Atma, which is the original source of all the, Prakasha. So that we cannot say here, that Vyapti will not work here, right? But we require the Vritti Jnanam for Aham Brahmasmi Vritti. That we must not forget. That's why, many people say that, you must transcend your mind, and you must, especially yoga, in yoga, this Shastra, it said, you must make your mind completely thoughtless and all that. We don't accept that. We say that we require a mind, because the Vritti Jnanam can take place only in the mind. Knowledge takes place only in the mind, the Buddhi. We cannot do away with we cannot transcend the Buddhi and say that Aham Brahmasmi. For saying Aham Brahmasmi, we require the mind. So we don't accept that, theory of transcending the mind and all that. Only difference here is that the Vritti Jnanam mind is required, but Chidabhasa is not required, because that Aham Brahmasmi Jnanam itself, that Atma, Jnanam of your own Atma, it is self-evident. So you don't require any other light for enlightening that particular Vritti, right? So that is what is this mantra is talking about. And then toward the end, he gives a beautiful example. And that example is what? Let me just give me 1 minute. Yes. The example he says is Megha Paye Amshuman Iva. A beautiful example. Amshuman means Surya, the sun, which is what Swayam Prakasha, isn't it? And let us suppose that it is covered by the clouds. When it is covered by dark clouds, it appears as if the sun is not shining. Or even if it is there, the light of the sun will be very, very dull, rather, right? Now, some breeze comes or some wind comes and it removes that cloud. What will happen? The sun will be shining. It was not that earlier the sun was not shining and only now the sun is shining. No, the sun was always shining. But the clouds of ignorance had actually blocked the shining of the sun, the light of the sun. And when the clouds of ignorance are removed by the winds of knowledge, what remains is the shining sun, which was always shining. Atma sarvada prakashate. It was always shining only. So we didn't know that it was shining, and it was self-evident. Because of these clouds of ignorance, it was all covered. Now they are gone. So the sun is shining. So what is that? What is the message here? The message is Aham Atma, I am always shining. This ignorance has not actually taken away anything from me. All that the ignorance has done is temporarily covered my original nature of being Swayam Prakashate. And because I have acquired this knowledge, just like the winds remove the ignorance and then the sun shines, this knowledge is just like the winds remove the clouds and the sun shines, shining sun is seen. Similarly, the winds of knowledge have removed this ignorance, and aham atma, aham brahmasmi is comes to our knowledge, and we know that as a as a sure thing, as the sun is shining, rather we also shine rather. So this is what is this particular verse says. So here, Amshuman, I told you, is Suryan, and apaye means removed or gone. Then apagate sati, apaye, again sati saptami, right? By what? By the wind. So that is megha apaye. Megha means clouds, apaye means removed. Megha apaye amshuman, that is the wind is not mentioned here, but we have to assume the wind removes the clouds rather. Like that, the knowledge removes our ignorance rather. So this is the original scenario. Aham brahmasmi vritti is the wind, and the cloud is ajnanam. Aham brahmasmi vritti removes the ajnanam, the cloud, and the surya, I, the atma, which is always shining, right? It automatically shows up, and then we get the atma jnana. This is the process which is there in this particular sloka. We will continue in the next class. Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you all. Any questions? ஒண்ணும் இல்லையா கொஸ்டின்? க்ளோஸ் பண்ணிடலாமா? அப்போ அதுக்கும் ஆன்சர் இல்ல. பண்ணிடலாம் இல்லையா? ஓகே, அப்போ வெள்ளிக்கிழமை பார்க்குறோம். ஓகே,
ரைட்.
ஆல் த பெஸ்ட். தேங்க்யூ. பாய்.
பாய்.